But this is supposed to be the intro where I say, "Hey guys, it's me and Joe in the Strike Studio." Joe, he's a student here at Onelife Fitness, and what I wanted him to do was talk to you guys a little bit about his journey with boxing, kickboxing, and different combat sports. So I'm going to turn it over to Joe and ask you to talk about your journey a little bit, where you started, where you're at now, and where you want to go.
Right. So I started doing some of these classes. It was last year sometime, and
Hmm.
honestly, like I really just wanted to enhance my gym experience a little bit. I've always been someone who liked exercising back in high school, a while ago now, but I always really liked gym class, and it's where I really found, I guess, a passion, I guess you could call it, for exercising. So I decided, well, as much as I love lifting weights, just doing something more physical, I wanted to just try expanding it. And my friend actually comes here. He recommended I try some classes, and I did, and I just really ended up finding it really fun, and I just continued doing it. Becoming a fighter isn't the end goal. It's learning just the art of fighting, just learning the skills in case you find yourself in a situation where you need to learn how to fight. And not to mention, it's just good for just your body, your mind. It's just something to just continuously improve at, and you can definitely see progress as you go along. The more you do it, just naturally, the better you get at it. And it's something I find a lot of fun, and something I just want to keep learning at. In the beginning, it's just learning how to throw the punches, and then you eventually start throwing punches with other people, and then the bag, and then there's a whole nother side to the battle, which is defending punches. There's just so much to learn. There's so many types of fighting. There's MMA, there's Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu. There's all this types of fighting, and there's so much to learn. The sky's the limit. So if you're someone who likes learning, this is the perfect thing to do if you're someone who likes learning.
Yeah, no, that was great. I have a lot of questions to ask you, but I'll keep it short. The first thing, I guess, in particular to what we're talking about here today, would be you mentioned the self-defense aspect, which I really appreciate it, because as a coach, I try to teach everyone self-defense because you never know, but there's an overwhelming response of I'll never be in that. Where Joe's definitely one of the first people who's receptive to if I go, this is going to save your life one day. He's like, oh yeah, let me pay attention to that. But it doesn't sound like you got into it for self-defense, but you do appreciate it. So I guess my question would be, what is it about that aspect of it that you like? And do you, when you're learning these things, or even I'm saying them, what is it that comes to your mind? Do you go, oh, I'm getting prepared for this, I'm gonna be Batman one day? Or do you go, it's just good to know?
Honestly, it's kind of just a mix. I feel just learning, to fight, just as you said, in case you need to learn how to fight. Also, just fun to learn in general. I'm not trying to say I got super great at back, but I know a lot about the bags, and it's just learning even more and trying to apply both together. I just feel becoming really good at it, very satisfying. Even if my goal isn't to get in the ring and everything, just learning the skills is very important to us. And, I really like it for that, just the learning aspect. It's also just fun. That's pretty important. But I find it personally very fun and a very enjoyable experience.
Perfect. No, and that kind of, so my second question is about that fun piece where when you started, how do you rate everything on a scale of 1 to 10 now? Where when you started, I'm assuming, I wanted to work out. I kind of thought it would be fun, but I didn't really know what it was. Now it's I know it's fun. I know it's a workout. Does that make sense?
It does.
So where are you in that realm? When you started, what was your expectations versus the reality when it comes to fun and fitness? And
so when I started, it was mainly just something to do more exercising. I didn't really I did the fighting part. Wasn't my sights weren't set on learning to fight at the time. My friend introduced me to doing some of these classes, with him, and I started doing it. And at first it was just mainly just to learn, well, just to get more physical activity in, because it just, I feel it's super important to making sure you're constantly moving. Weightlifting is very fun, but being doing cardio and stuff, it's just as important. So I wanted to do something like that. But as I was doing it, I found it really fun, and I just wanted to like start doing more classes, learning new strategies. Eventually, wanting to get kind of into defense, which is also still like it's cardio. It still really works your body, and it's not like you start all of a sudden doing defense like it gets like super easy and you're not doing anything. You're still constantly like pushing your body to its limits, and it's just something like very entertaining to me. Just constantly like seeing the progress improve is also very fun while you're also like burning calories and all.
Perfect, perfect. I think the last thing I'll ask you, just because I want you to be open ended, would be like, what do you think is most like? What I'm thinking of is, what are the challenges you faced or like things you've had to overcome, whether they're in the room or personally? And I can give you an example. So we've talked about it before, and we talked that, I'll be talking to fighters. So like as a fighter, conditioning is one of the challenges that we all go through.
Mm-hmm.
But like for me personally, my shin conditioning was like one of the biggest challenges because I've fractured my legs and my legs weren't at full health when I first started. So like what challenges have you run into, whether it's conditioning or consistency or any type of intangible?
So my biggest challenge, I would probably say, is in the beginning, it was more or less trying to keep up with the class. Like at first, it was very hard to like get through the classes without like like needing to like, for example, do 20 push-ups, and it's like I can only get like 10 like in the allotted time. But like as you go through like a lot of that, like when I was able to keep up, like just with like the classic rhythm. But then beyond that, like the challenges just come in the fighting skill itself. Like personally think like the punch form was a pretty big challenge for me for a while. Like the longest time, I feel like I didn't learn how to do like the hooks properly. That was something I struggled with. And then after I feel like I got the punches down, it eventually became defense. And defense, in my personal opinion, it's tough, but like you can get good at it. Like it feels really good. It's a great learning experience, and
Hey,
so and defense is a great learning experience. And then beyond that, like just what I was saying before about just being a learning experience, there's so much you can do and learn, and like you can just keep like going. It's one of the reasons I find it really cool.
perfect, perfect. Kind of the same thing with something that popped in my head as you were talking because it was good. Would be if someone was just getting started, like, would you give like, is there any tip you would give them in particular?
I would say be consistent. Something I've heard a few times is like there's a lot of classes each week, like one every single day, depending on the day, like at a different time. But like if I had to give advice to anybody starting, is be consistent. The first few classes, look, maybe like the first 2 weeks might be a little tough in being consistent, but after that, I promise you, it's just like your daily commute. The hardest part about the gym, not just for strike, but like just for everything in general, is being consistent. But if you can just like find the time to be consistent with going to classes, I would say starting with at least 3 classes a week and then slowly increasing it to whatever you're comfortable with. Just make sure you hit those 3 a week. So that way you're constantly, you're here, you're learning all the time, and just being consistent, I feel like is the key to like having the most enjoyable experience out of striking. And it's just best for your body overall if you are consistent. Consistency, I feel like, is the key to a lot of things. Just exercise related and just like bike related stuff.
Perfect. Thanks, Joe.
We get stronger every day.